got quorum, I guess, or we're close to it. Today is the School Board Associations and School Administrators Day on the Hill. Thank you for all of you. I've gained an admiration and respect for all of you in the recent last month or two that I had before, but certainly with all the balls that you guys have in the air, so to speak, and that you have to juggle, and in particular our finance directors of our school districts and school boards. I just have gained so much admiration and respect for them and for what they're, many of them are going through right now because of all the unknowns and uncertainties in our education world. So if you're out there, I thank you for the hard work and the efforts that you do for your local taxpayers and the kids and the teachers and all the district employees and the bus drivers and cooks and everybody involved in that wonderful thing called public education. So thank you all for that. Today we're hearing two bills. First up is Senate File 2067, which deals with the SAT and the MCAs and the ACTs and a bunch of acronyms. And then the second bill is Senator Kunesh's Senate File 1899. So the first bill is my bill. I will be handing the gavel to my vice chair, Senator May Quaid.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a little bit of a lighter gavel hand than you, I think, so let's see. But as soon as you are ready, Senate File 2076 is before the committee. And Senator Cwodzinski, do you have an amendment you would like to move?
Yes. I would like to move. Is it the A1?
It is.
The A1 amendment, Madam Chair.
All right. Senator Cwodzinski moves the A1 amendment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The amendment passes. Senator Cwodzinski to Senate File 2067 as amended.
Thank you, members. Thank you, Madam Chair. So Senate File 2067 seeks to administer a nationally recognized college entrance exam such as the ACT or the SAT to satisfy state and federal requirements on testing. A nationally recognized college entrance exam offers our state measurable data for all areas currently assessed by the MCAs, while reducing testing time and administrative burden. If you know me at all, you know how much I'd love to have less testing of the kids. I spoke to a bunch of kids a couple years ago at Wayzata High School, and they were respectful and just nice young people, just smiling when they approved of what I was saying, and maybe a gentle, smirk or a shake of the head if they didn't agree. But when during the Q&A, when one young woman, she asked me, what do I think of standardized testing? And my reply was, I think we're testing you kids to death. That was the only applause I got in the whole hour and a half. And so I don't know where you are, young lady. Probably, hopefully somewhere having a rich and fulfilling life as a 21-year-old or something. But the kids don't take the MCAs maybe perhaps as seriously as we'd like. And I'm sure the testifiers will speak to all this, but the parents and the kids are opting out, so they're not even taking it. And then when the parents do make them go to school to take the test, they're not taking it seriously, and they're just checking boxes as they go down the line. And I think this bill would eliminate that, and the kids would take it a lot more seriously. And so we've got a number of speakers here. A few of them are our younger members who are maybe testifying for the first time. So with that said, I just also want to add the bill has bipartisan support. So I thank you, Senator Coleman, for co-authoring the bill. And with that said, Madam Chair, we have a series of fellow testifiers.
Thank you, Senator Cwodzinski. Laura Oxnavad, excuse me. Dr. Swanson, if you also want to come down, and Sienna, and sit at the testifying table. Laura, you may introduce yourself to the committee, and then introduce yourself, and you may begin your testimony. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair May Quaid and Senator Cwodzinski and Coleman for introducing this bill. My name is Laura Oxnavad. I am a school board member, and I'm honored to testify on behalf of the Association of Metro School Districts and Minnesota School Board Association in support of Senate File 2067. I'm also participating in the Minnesota Education Policy Fellowship, and this is a policy position I am actively working on. The Minnesota Comprehensive Assessments, MCAs, were designed to measure system performance rather than individual student achievement. High school students currently take 3 separate MCA exams, language arts, math, and science, that primarily assess school systems. As a result, their relevance to individual students has diminished, with opt-out rates steadily increasing. In an era of perceived over-testing, legislators should consider transitioning to a single accountability measure aligned to state standards that evaluates both systems and individual students, such as the ACT or SAT. Students deserve rigorous, knowledge-rich curricula paired with assessments that are relevant to individual student achievement, aligned to state standards, and informative for system-level accountability and individual learning progress. The current model of MCA testing falls short of these goals, leading to decreased student engagement and utility for stakeholders. Shifting to a unified test like the ACT would ensure assessments meet the needs of students, families, educators, and policymakers. If Minnesota transitions from MCA testing to a nationally recognized entrance exam as the primary high school assessment, the goal is that student engagement and participation rates will increase. Opt-out rates will decrease. Stakeholders such as families, students, and districts will benefit from actionable data. So let's move forward toward a unified student-centered assessment system that drives engagement and meaningful outcomes for all Minnesota high school students. Thank you, Senators Coleman and Cwodzinski, for carrying this bill, and thank you for the opportunity to share our story.
Thank you so much. After Dr. Swanson and Sienna, we'll have Dr. Melby and Dr. Caesar on deck. Just be ready to come on down. But Dr. Swanson, please introduce yourself for the committee. You may begin your testimony.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chair McQuaid, members of the committee. Appreciate the opportunity to testify today. My name is Dr. Josh Swanson. I serve as the Superintendent for Eden Prairie Schools. I'm here to advocate for Senate File 2067, which would direct the Minnesota Department of Education to replace the MCAs at the high school level with a nationally required college entrance exam. An example could be the ACT, a test that right now a vast majority of our students already take voluntarily and that provides meaningful benefits for their futures. The reality is that the high school MCAs are no longer serving their intended purpose. In Eden Prairie, only 30% of our students actually take the math MCA, meaning 70% of our students opt out, and between 30 and 50% of our students opt out of the reading and the science MCA exams. Those who do not participate actually have to navigate a burdensome opt-out process. At the same time, we have over 95% of our students voluntarily take the ACT, and many also engage in advanced placement exams, certification assessments, bilingual seal exams, and other meaningful measures that directly impact their college and career pathways. Almost all of those exams take place at about the same time, so our students have to prioritize what they're going to invest in. This trend of opting out has broader implications because such a large percentage of our students are not participating. The MCAs also no longer provide reflective or valuable and accurate data about our schools. The low participation rate on high school MCAs also leads to results that are not reliable and lack validity to use for evaluation or decision making at the high school level. As a result, our educators are unable to use the MCA assessments to make informed educational decisions. In contrast, assessments like the ACT, which so many students take, provide actionable data that can help inform programming, continuous improvement, student success, and towards career and college readiness. Continuing to invest in an assessment that students and families actively avoid is really a misuse of valuable state resources at this point. Instead, we should align state assessment efforts with what students are already choosing, prioritizing our resources on a test that holds real value for them and provides meaningful data for our schools. The use of a national college entrance exam increases access for students and would also allow us to benchmark beyond just Minnesota, which is another value add. But most importantly, this opens doors for each of our students, whether they choose to go on to higher education, technical education, or go into the workforce and then want to later return for a career-enhancing education. I urge the committee to move this bill forward that would replace the high school MCAs with the nationally recognized college entrance exam. This shift would ensure that our assessment system is meaningful for our students, beneficial to our families, and useful to educators, while allowing state resources to be directed towards something that truly benefits Minnesota students. I am really proud to have Sienna Obel, a senior at Eden Prairie High School, with me here today to also share her thoughts, and then we're happy to answer questions at the end.
Thank you so much. And Sienna, please introduce yourself for the committee. You may begin your testimony.
Chair Cwodzinski, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify here today. As was stated previously, my name is Sienna Obel. I'm a senior at Eden Prairie High School, and I think MCA should no longer be a required assessment in Minnesota public high schools. This is due to, firstly, MCAs are not critical for colleges. Like, the moment you step into high school, that's like your number one worry. Chairs of the committee, I'm sure you understand that life does not end after high school's over. Students have aspirations beyond high school and many paths to indulge in, and MCAs don't really serve that. With increasing tuition and stricter admissions, each graduating class has to try a little harder to enhance their college resume, add substance, something to stand out. Benchmark national assessments already exist, like the ACT and SAT, and these are things that colleges already look at to determine your college readiness. With the focus of resumes being on various activities like athletic and academic, students are refusing to entertain things like the MCA because they lack substance into our resumes. We more so are focusing on athletics and academics and other benchmark assessments like I previously named. For example, I've done track since like 9th grade, and I've been involved in many different activities. I'd like to consider myself a very involved student. I've been a representative of Student Council and Black Student Union during my upperclassmen years, and overall, I've been involved in National Honor Society and Student Inclusion and Belonging Committees, so I would consider myself multifaceted and very involved in schools. Beyond that, I'm involved in my church. I do a recycling and composting initiative at my church with my cousins every Sunday, and I also work. So I can say that I am pretty multifaceted and I do various things, and I can also go on to say that standardized tests are very stressful. As high school students already endure a number of standardized tests, and considering the AP test, ACT, SAT, PSAT, all of those things. I've taken pretty rigorous courses during my high school career, such as AP US History and AP Biology, and I can tell you right now, a lot of time is spent on preparation for these tests. Time that could be spent going to work, hang out with your friends, doing, working on your athleticism. Things of that nature are spent on hours preparing for these stressful tests. And all of these tests tend to occur during the same amount of time. It's usually during spring semester that the AP tests during May or bilingual SEAL or ACT are occurring. And because it occurs in such a short unit of time and so many things are happening, and also considering the fact that it's spring semester, so students have already endured the fall semester and are experiencing kind of like this worn outness and have already gone through projects and tests and various assessments. By the time you reach spring semester and all these tests are adding up, students are very worn out. And adding the MCA is not necessarily on a lot of people's lists, considering that burnout by juggling so many activities. In addition to that, standardized tests aren't always accurate reflections of student involvement and intellect. I can also attest to this. Standardized tests have not always been a direct reflection of my understanding and learning, things like that. And also, many students have different learning styles. This can be found in like educational textbooks even. Some people are visual, tactile, kinesthetic, etc. learners. In addition to that, some people have mental or learning disabilities, and these tests often do not accommodate to those needs. So adding another test on top of all these standardized assessments are hard for those students, in addition to the fact that they don't always reflect your understanding of the curriculums in place. So yeah, as somebody who has pretty much been involved in a lot of things and pretty multifaceted and pretty hardworking, I can attest to the fact that I opted out of MCAs for those reasons, and I move this bill forward.
Thank you so much, Sienna. Thank you so much for giving details and helping make real for the committee something a lot of us haven't experienced in a very long time. So thank you for that. Thank you. Next, we have Dr. Melby and Dr. Caesar. And on deck from that is Heather Starks. You can all make your way to the testifying table. Dr. Melby, please introduce yourself for the committee. You may begin when you're ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. My name is Dr. Eric Melby, and I am the Superintendent for Bloomington Public Schools. Today, I'm here to testify on behalf of the Minnesota School Board Association and the Bloomington Public Schools School Board on Senate File 2067. Thank you for the opportunity to address this critical educational issue. Across Minnesota and nationwide, we face significant challenge, the declining participation in state-mandated standardized testing. This concerning trend is largely driven by the perception that these high school assessments offer minimal value to students and their families. In Bloomington Public Schools, we have observed this pattern intensify, particularly among our high school student population. Our educators consistently report that the test data results have become of limited use due to three factors: rising opt-outs, test refusals, and diminished student engagement during testing. These factors significantly undermine the validity and usefulness of the data collected. In my capacity as superintendent, I bear the responsibility of making tough decisions regarding resource allocation, particularly as we continue to face significant budget cuts and anticipate more in the near future. It's my duty to prioritize resources where they will have the greatest impact. Therefore, it is imperative that we direct our limited resources toward initiatives that yield maximum educational benefit. Currently, MCA testing at the high school level is a misallocation of Bloomington's resources. We are losing valuable instructional time to meet these testing requirements, yet the data we receive is insufficient and incomplete to act upon. Even among participating students, the results fail to provide a full or accurate picture of their knowledge and abilities. For example, one student recently shared, like a week ago, quote, "I clicked through the test questions without reading them. My friends and I figured out that if we click too fast, we get a warning. So we click and wait a bit before clicking again." In conclusion, we must realign our priorities to better serve our educational mission. The current state of high school standardized testing does not serve these goals, and continued reliance on it without meaningful participation and actionable data only detracts from the educational experience. I respectfully urge this committee to carefully consider the broader impact of Senate File 2067, and I ask for your support in moving forward with this legislation that will help ensure we are using our resources more effectively and in ways that directly support student success. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you so much. Dr. Caesar, you may introduce yourself and begin your testimony.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee member. My name is Dr. Julio Caesar, and I serve as the Executive Director of Research, Evaluation, and Assessment in Bloomington Public Schools. I am here today to testify in strong support of SF 2067, which proposes adopting a national recognized college entrance exams as Minnesota's statewide test for high school students. To illustrate why this change is so critical, let's examine the current state of high school assessment in Minnesota. For years, Minnesota has utilized the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessments and their alternative versions as the primary tools to measure student achievement in high school. However, we have seen an alarming decline in participation rates for these tests. For example, in 2014, more than 95% of high school students participated in the MCA math and reading test. Fast forward to 2024, participation rates dropped significantly to 73% for math and 84% for reading. In Bloomington Public Schools, the situation is even more pronounced, with just 55% of high school students taking the MCAs in math and 81% in reading. A study that we performed on opt-out rates for the 2023 year showed that controlling for GPA, white students were 62% more likely to opt out of the test than students of color. This decline in participation is not just a local issue, it is a national trend. These statistics highlight the growing disconnect between the test and the students they aim to assess. Many students perceive the MCAs as less relevant to their goals, as shared before, particularly when compared to tasks like the SATs and AP exams, which carry significantly more weight in college admissions. Furthermore, the data we do collect is often insufficient for curriculum evaluation due to the high rate of non-participation. This creates a situation where educators, families, and stakeholders, as well as you, policymakers, cannot rely on MCA results to provide meaningful insights into student learning. The federal government mandates that all states assess high school students in reading, math, and science at least once as part of the Every Student Success Act, known as ESSA. Under ESSA, states have the flexibility to utilize a nationally recognized assessment, just as the SAT or the ACT, in place of their state-developed assessments. Indeed, numerous states have already transitioned to the ACT as a key component of their state's accountability systems. These adoptions by other states underscores that this is not a novel approach. We are not breaking new ground. Rather, by transitioning to the ACT, Minnesota will join a cohort of states demonstrating leadership in providing their students with a more meaningful and relevant assessment experience. This shift will ensure that Minnesota students are not only assessed on the state level, but also effectively benchmarked against their peers nationally. This national comparison allows us to understand more clearly how Minnesota students are performing compared to students across the country. A primary advantage of the ACT is its status as a widely recognized and nationally accepted assessment. The ACT is inherently valuable to students, significantly enhancing their motivation to perform well, to its critical role in college admissions, and of course, scholarship decisions. Unlike the MCAs, which many students perceive as merely mandatory but inconsequential tests, the ACT's acknowledged importance provides genuine incentive for students to excel. Beyond its motivational impact, the ACT also offers a more efficient assessment experience. The ACT is significantly shorter than the MCAs, substantially reducing the overall testing burden on students. Furthermore, by decreasing the number of required standardized tests in the springs, as our students shared before, we can effectively mitigate the testing fatigue commonly experienced by students, enabling them to be more engaged and focused on their academic progress throughout the school year. Crucially, any transition to a statewide test for accountability purposes must ensure a strong alignment with the Minnesota academic standards. A comprehensive study commissioned by Bloomington Public Schools and conducted by ACS Ventures in collaboration with the Minnesota Department of Education demonstrated this alignment. The study found that fully 100% of ACT reading items and 93% of ACT math items align with Minnesota standards. This is not a publicly available report, but we are happy to share with our colleagues and, of course, with the committee. This robust alignment definitely ensures that by adopting the ACT, Minnesota will be assessing students on the precise skills and knowledge they are expected to learn and master throughout their high school education. Beyond ensuring alignment with our state standards, another critical aspect of a high-quality assessment is its fairness and validity evidence to support the user interpretation of its scores. And this is very important to me. The ACT has been rigorously analyzed for fairness, and extensive research indicates that the test demonstrates equity across diverse student populations, including racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic groups. For instance, to ensure fairness, every ACT test question undergoes multiple independent reviews, at least 16 independent reviews by content and fairness experts before it is used in a live test. An analysis of over 7,000 questions from the 2015-2016 ACT administration revealed that only 0.01% of items were initially flagged for potential unfairness or bias. And subsequent expert review confirmed that all these items were indeed fair and unbiased. This robust body of research strongly supports the reliability and fairness evidence of the ACT as an assessment of student achievement across demographic groups. Having addressed the critical issues of fairness and validity, we now turn to the significant practical benefits that transitioning to the ACT offers for our schools and students. The transition to the ACT will significantly reduce administrative burden associated with multiple state tests. Currently, at the high school level, the complex logistics of coordinating and administering multiple state-mandated tests consumes valuable educator time, as well as district resources that could be far better allocated to direct classroom instruction. Adopting a single streamlined assessment like the SAT would substantially reduce administrative workload, allowing for a greater focus and investment in student learning. Having outlined the numerous benefits of transitioning to the SAT and recognizing the urgent need to address the shortcomings of our current assessment system at the high school level, the case for change is now undeniable. This stark reality is that our current MCA tests in their present form do not adequately serve the diverse needs of today's high school students or effectively evaluate the essential skills required for college and career readiness. It is time for Minnesota to take a decisive action and join the growing number of states that have embraced the ACT as a superior solution. The ACT offers Minnesota a powerful and practical pathway forward. By transitioning to this national recognized assessment, we directly address the critical issues of declining MCA participation, pervasive testing fatigue, alleviate administrative burdens, and free up valuable instructional time for meaningful teaching and learning. Therefore, we strongly urge you to support the transition to the ACT as Minnesota's statewide high school assessment. By championing this transition, you will empower our students with an assessment system that truly reflects their academic growth, fosters their future potential, and ultimately better prepares them for success in the 21st century. Thank you for your time, your thoughtful consideration, and your unwavering dedication to the young people of Minnesota.
Thank you, Dr. Caesar. Heather Starks is next, and then we have Kevin McHenry and Matt Shaver, who can come down and sit at the table to avoid the time between testifier shifting. You may begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Is this on?
If I'll just have you lean over, and Dr. Melby and Dr. Caesar, if you want to switch out with the next folks who are coming down, but I assume you're staying for expert questions. Great, thank you.
All right, we did get this working. Thank you.
Great.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Heather Starks. I am the past president of the Minnesota PTA, or the Parent Teacher Association. I am also a member of the Bloomington School Board, a former middle school educator, and a parent of 3 children ages 22, 19, and 16. Students and parents alike welcome a serious evaluation of whether the MCA is the right tool for high school accountability and the best use of students' time. Let's begin the evaluation with the classic carrot and stick analogy. For students and families, the MCAs are the stick, or as you've heard from other testifiers that have highlighted, it's just another test we have to take. And judging from the large and growing number of opt-outs is one that many students, including my recent graduates and incoming junior, find irrelevant to their high school journey. And we know lack of relevance is a driver for chronic absenteeism. They don't perceive any benefit, especially since finalized score reports come after they've moved on to the next grade. But the ACT, that has the potential to be a garden of carrots. Elevating the ACT as the state's high school accountability measure would make it an important milestone for every student, not just those that are college-bound. The ACT offers valuable insights into college and career readiness, as well as eligibility for admissions and scholarships, things the MCA was never designed to provide. Pairing the ACT with the state's new direct admissions program, which my current college sophomore benefited from, would streamline the college admissions process and encourage more students to pursue higher education. Parents would also benefit from the ACT resources to help plan their students' futures. By adopting the ACT, we ensure that the time students spend on testing directly supports their future aspirations, making it a more relevant and valuable experience. In light of these benefits, the Minnesota PTA strongly urges you to pass Senate File 2067 and replace the high school MCAs with the ACT. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I apologize if I missed Jeremy Willie. So you introduce yourself for the committee. You may begin, and then Kevin, you'll be next.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Jeremy Willie, and I currently serve as ACT's Director of State Partnerships for Minnesota. I'm a lifelong Minnesotan And prior to my time at ACT, I served for over 20 years in K-12 education in the Twin Cities as a director of teaching and learning, a lead principal, and an educator in 4 different metro area school districts. I have the unique perspective of administering the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessments as a classroom teacher, supporting their implementation as a lead principal, and then using the data gleaned from these assessments to drive improvements in instructional decision-making as a district leader. If this proposed piece of legislation were to become law and ACT were to be selected as the vendor of choice, ACT would be a partner with the Minnesota Department of Education and with school districts in the state to ensure success. ACT provides a team of experts to help states prepare and submit evidence for assessment peer review, the U.S. Department of Education's process for ensuring the technical quality of accountability measures. ACT commits significant resources to help states, and we organize a working group for states to collaborate with each other on peer review submissions. The team also includes individuals with state agency level experience. When possible, ACT develops common evidence that all states can use for peer review submission to save states both time and money. Alignment to state academic standards is an essential part of the review process, and all states using ACT for accountability have submitted evidence of strong content alignment. As was shared previously, in the spring of 2025, 8 states will use ACT for school accountability under the Every Student Succeeds Act, and ACT has a strong partnership with each of those states. I'd also like to share that ACT's college and career readiness standards and benchmarks describe the essential skills and knowledge students need to become ready for college and career, giving clear meaning to test scores and serving as a link between what students have learned and what they're ready to learn next. We have a large volume of empirical data to support that the ACT is predictive of college success, and we'd be happy to share that with you at any point in time if you'd like. Finally, ACT offers several free resources that students, families, and educators can utilize to prepare for the ACT. We offer free subject practice questions, online and paper practice tests, study guides, test-taking tips, and a number of additional resources that can be accessed through a student's MyACT account. In closing, by allowing a nationally recognized college entrance exam to replace the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessments at the high school level, students, families, and educators would experience several immediate and positive benefits. Thank you for your time and your consideration of this testimony today.
Thank you, Mr. Willey. And would you be willing to just tell us what 8 states those are?
I can. Alabama, Arizona, Illinois, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Wisconsin.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, we will have Kevin McHenry and Matt Shaver, if you want to come down. Kevin, go ahead. You may begin your testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Kevin McHenry, Director of Government Relations for the College Board. College Board is a mission-driven, not-for-profit that helps connect students to college and career success through programs like advanced placement and the SAT. And we have a long productive history of collaborating with Minnesota students and districts. Thank you for the opportunity to testify, and thank you to Senator Cwodzinski for his author's amendment to ensure a fair and open process in selecting a college entrance exam. To be clear, College Board is not advocating to eliminate the MCAs, as we feel that's a decision best left to the Minnesota Legislature with input from school districts, families, and students. If Minnesota does choose to end the high school MCAs and replace with the college entrance exam, we do advocate for an open RFP process that ensures the best value and fit to meet the needs of students across the state. The College Board works in all 50 states, and in each state that is considering using a college entrance exam for accountability purposes, we always advocate for an open process. Here in Minnesota, the College Board is best known through our work with the PSAT and advanced placement coursework in our high schools. Last year, approximately 40,000 students took an AP exam, and almost 14,000 Minnesota students completed either the SAT or the PSAT. Just for a little background on the SAT Suite is an objective measure of core reading, writing, science, and math skills that are essential for success in college and career. It's used to meet federal accountability requirements in 9 states: Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Indiana, Michigan, New Hampshire, New Mexico, Rhode Island, and West Virginia. Last year, College Board successfully launched the digital ACT nationwide and have administered already over 10 million exams. The digital SAT is an extensively researched and validated multi-stage adaptive test, which allows the test to be much shorter than before while maintaining reliability and validity. The test is now just over 2 hours, which is reduced by about a third. When a student takes the PSAT or SAT, they can connect directly and earlier with colleges, academic majors, career opportunities, and more than $300 million in college scholarships. The SAT suite of assessment score reports include career insight snapshots, which provide a list of growing careers in a student's state aligned with their career interests. Students have the access to free best-in-class SAT prep on Khan Academy, with thousands of practice questions, videos, and lessons based on previous test results. We also provide 6 free full-length practice tests in Blue Book, which is the same testing app used on test day and for advanced placement exams. And finally, once a student takes an SAT suite assessment, College Board's AP Potential tool allows school administrators and educators to identify students who are likely to score 3 or higher in AP courses, which opens the door for targeted outreach and encouragement for students who may not have considered advanced coursework. With that, I thank you for the opportunity to testify on Senate File 2067. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Matt Shaver.
Chair May Quaid, members of the committee, good afternoon. My name is Matt Shaver. I'm a teacher and the Senior Policy Director at Ed Allies. We're an education advocacy organization working to ensure all students have a rigorous and engaging education in Minnesota. And thank you, Senator Cwodzinski, for bringing the bill forward. It's a topic worth discussing. Ed Allies very much supports efforts to improve college and career readiness and access to post-secondary opportunities. However, we are opposed to replacing the high school MCAs with the ACT or SAT as proposed in Senate File 2067. Here's how the MCAs are designed now. Every 10 years, the Department of Education convenes a committee of dozens of Minnesota-based experts in a specific subject area to revise our state standards. These are teachers, professors, parents, community members who work together to decide what all Minnesota students should be able to know and do in science, reading, math, and so on. This process takes years. There are multiple drafts, opportunities for public comment, and an administrative law judge gets involved to make sure the process laid out in statute was followed and that the revisions are reasonable. It's a long, messy process that is locally controlled by and accountable to Minnesotans. One criticism of standardized assessments is that they require teachers to, quote, teach to the test. That's not actually the case. We teach to the standards that Minnesotans decide. The MCA assessment follows those standards. MCA test items go through multiple rounds of content review panels. I had a chance to serve on one last year. It was great and worth participating in. Minnesota educators and community members check for content and grade level alignment, as well as equity gaps in the questions. Swapping out the MCA for the ACT or SAT flips this dynamic on its head. ACT Education Corporation decides what is tested on the ACT, and Minnesota teachers would need to teach to those standards in order to prepare students for the exam. If Minnesota standards shift, as they inevitably will, there's no incentive for a company serving 49 other states to change those standards. Outsourcing assessed high school standards in math, reading, and science to a private entity is a real oversight and transparency issue. Also an issue, this proposal replaces a low-stakes test, the high school MCAs, with an actual high-stakes test, like the ACT. Are high school students staying after school and spending their Saturdays taking practice MCAs right now? College opportunities for a student literally open and close based on the single number that is spit out after taking this test. An entire education career summed up by a 17 or a 23 or a 925. For the low price of $2,200, the Princeton Review will guarantee your kid a 31 plus on the ACT. which communities in the state have the resources to afford this kind of test prep and which don't. These disparities will show up in our statewide report card, masking whether our school systems are actually bringing students to proficiency and instead highlighting who can and cannot afford the best test prep. You'll see in our handout a comparison of participation rates, which show a higher percentage of Minnesota students take the MCAs than the ACTs, and compares MCA proficiency and ACT proficiency for selected student groups. We don't know how Minnesota students with disabilities, Minnesota English learners, migrant students, students experiencing homelessness, and students with active duty parents did on the ACT in 2024. We do know that information for the MCAs. In some cases, the data is not pretty. Our statewide assessments are one of many ways we measure the outcome gaps we all have a responsibility to address. Don't ignore outcome data for these student groups. We urge the committee to keep the standards-aligned MCAs in place. I want to thank you all for your public service to our state.
Thank you. And it looks like we have two final student testifiers, Wilhelmina Sharmer and Aloysius Thompson. Whichever one of you, Wilhelmina, are you going first?
Yes.
Introduce yourself for the committee. You may begin your testimony.
Hello, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Wilhelmina Sharmer, and I'm from Monticello. Today, I would like to speak to you personally about my opinion on switching from MCAs to an ACT. I would like to speak personally about some of how I see it in the school and what I've seen my friends go through. So growing up in the public school district, you take multiple MCA tests throughout the years. And I would say they're a really amazing gauge of where students are at the time that they're taking MCAs through elementary school all the way up until middle school. However, once you make the jump to high school, you start taking different classes. Many students start to specialize in classes that are more fit to where they may see their career going. And as good as a standardized MCA test is, it might not fit for everybody. Many of my friends have started focusing on their ACT test. Most don't even know the day of the MCA when it is. Many will go through and finish within the day, saying that they just, as you stated, clicked through the questions. And as unfortunate as that is, it's a very true reality. And I feel that students are best represented when they're able to put their time and effort into what they're learning, which is their ACT. I also feel it's not fair for the schools to be judged on their MCA scores, because many students will opt out due to either the lack of preparedness or their parents not wanting them to take them, or with the amount of stress that they're already going through, another standardized test is not what they want to do. And unfortunately, that gives the school a 0. It doesn't take them out of the equation, but it lowers the score for the school in general, which I don't believe is fair. So as effective as they may have been, I feel that it would be more effective for students to be able to put their best foot forward and be able to study for the ACT and focus on that. So, moving forward, I just wanted to keep it brief, but I hope that you all can see that I believe that this would be a great step towards not just helping kids focus on what they want, but also getting a real gauge of what students know. So, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Wilhelmina. Aloysius, you may introduce yourself for the committee and begin your testimony, unless you do not have testimony and you just came in support.
I came in support.
Thank you so much for coming to the committee.
Would you like me to-
I came in support.
Do you want me to sign this?
Member questions? And Senator Cwodzinski, did you have experts you wanted to have come back to the table, or?
Let's see what questions
Sounds
we
great.
have.
I think that's great. Senator Kunesh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Does anybody have a comparison of the cost for ACTs and MCAs? Do we know which one costs more?
Senator Cwodzinski, it costs the students more or costs the schools more?
Well, sometimes schools are picking up the cost of ACTs.
Gotcha.
So what does it cost for schools to pick up the cost for ACTs and then the cost to the state for the MCAs?
Senator Cwodzinski.
I do not know a financial number.
Okay.
I know the non-financial piece. the costs,
Yeah.
not the
Sen-
financial.
Senator Kunesh.
Thank you. I think that that's one thing that we want to look at. I think Mr. Shaver's made a good point that these are Minnesota-driven, the MCAs are Minnesota-driven tests, but what is the cost for creating them, maintaining them, updating them, implementing them, keeping a test department at in our educational department, or are we going to pay, an outside entity that is creating these tests and we don't have a voice in? It would be interesting, I think, to see a cost comparison at some point. It's really too bad if we're doing both of them. I mean, that's a lot of money considering that we're already, especially at the elementary level, there are a number of other tests that are taken throughout the year. There's math tests, M-tests, the EL tests that they have to take. And so at some point, I think we should sit down and really look at what is the cost of testing our kids. And I personally don't agree with the statement that we're not teaching to the tests in a lot of our schools. We absolutely are. In the school that I taught at, we were told, the teachers were told, forget social studies, forget this, just do math and reading, and then for 5th grade, make sure we get that science in somewhere. So there is learning loss in the other areas, and I would definitely say, unless things have swung differently since I retired 3 or 4 years ago, that teaching to the test is really, really detrimental to the full education of our students.
Thank you, Senator Kunesh. I have some questions, Senator Cwodzinski, and I was writing them throughout. So just take this for wanting to understand the logistics and nothing more. Right now, do our students in special education, do they take MCAs? I know some take alternative exams, but most take the MCAs. Is that right? You're getting nods behind you, Senator Cwodzinski,
Okay.
but yeah. Senator Kunesh?
So I can answer that. I was the testing coordinator in my school for about, over 10 years. And with special education students, they can get a waiver, but if they don't get the waiver or they don't meet that level of the ability to waiver, or if the parents didn't know that they could request a waiver, those students still have to take the test. And I have seen some horrific scenes play out when a student with special needs has to, like even legally, and is forced to take those tests. So there are special accommodations that can be put in place, but if that's not all set up, like if a special ed student arrives at a school before their IEP is finished, if that accommodation isn't in their IEP, then they have to take it with the rest of the class.
Thank you for that. So I guess I took the ACT twice 20 years ago. So are there alternative ways to take the ACT or the SAT that account for IEPs? Senator Cwodzinski? You probably
Is anybody nodding behind me?
No, there's phone a friend, I think, over here.
Okay.
Dr. Caesar.
Thank you. Great, thank you.
Of course. Madam Chair.
Dr. Caesar, yes, you may introduce yourself for the committee and
Absolutely.
answer the question. Yeah.
Madam Chair, Dr. Julio Caesar, Executive Director of Bloomington Public Schools. This is an excellent question. So the ACT does provide accommodations for special education students. Some are already built in the test themselves. So those are included with indicator of time remaining, keyboard navigation, but there are also accommodations that can be requested, similar to the MCAs or the MTAS in this case, which include Braille, color overlay, color contrast, human readers, large print materials, and so on. So that is embedded in the testing itself.
Thank you, Dr. Caesar. I have some more questions on this line, if you don't mind. And I'm still looking around because if anyone else has questions. So for a test like the ACT, does that require the company who like owns the test to provide the accommodation, or is it up to the school to say this is an accommodation that's needed? How does that work?
That's an excellent question. So that comes from the school, and as Senator mentioned before, it needs to be in the IEP for us to be able to request it. So once that is in the IEP, we make the request. We send a letter to ACT saying these are the accommodations that the student needs, and then the ACT has to provide those accommodations.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? I have 5, so I'll just keep going. Talk to me a little bit about the proctor situation and how, like, I think when I went to do it, I had to like bring my driver's license and like sign in. It was kind of it was like a big thing. Is that how it is then? Is that how it would be in the school? And how do we account for all the different ways that, you know, kids show up at school or don't show up at school, or measles or whatever?
Yeah, so thank you. That's a great question, Madam Chair. I would actually, if you don't mind, talking a little bit about that, because as a test coordinator, I like to always provide the space because you were on the ground doing the tasks.
Senator Kunesh.
So you're asking specifically about the ACT? Mm-hmm. So that area I do not have expertise in, or experience in. I was a K-6 testing coordinator in that school, and then at the middle school, but we didn't have ACT there. So I guess I don't know the answer to that question.
The state director for ACT, want to come forward?
Jeremy.
Yeah, thanks. And mostly, I'm just trying to marry my experience in a classroom with my experience with the ACT and figure out, like, how does this logistically work? Mr. Willie, did you hear my question?
I did.
Okay, great. Introduce yourself with the committee. You may answer.
Jeremy Willie, Director of State Partnerships for ACT. So to your question specifically, yes, there is an identification verification process that happens when students participate in school day, or what we call district testing with respect to the ACT. So for example, when my 11th grader goes to take the ACT tomorrow at his high school, we've already been given information about the different types of accepted IDs that he can bring to be able to take the test. So currently, 96% of public and charter schools across Minnesota offer district testing through ACT. So this whole process of ID verification is one that's very familiar, not only to Dr. Cesar, but to schools across the state.
Thank you. I'm going to continue to look around. So I guess, so right now, if a student doesn't have ID for some reason or the ability to get one, would then they miss out in this 11th and 12th grade year on kind of the understanding of their proficiency in these areas?
With respect to taking the ACT as a junior, that's a good question. I think each school truthfully handles that differently. I think one of the benefits with ACT online testing is now it provides a window, which, as you referenced when we took the test 20 some years ago, it was a one-day, one-shot paper opportunity. Now it's much nicer and much more flexible, especially in Minnesota when we think about the impact that snow days can have in March and in April when students want to take the ACT. They have that flexibility of if things don't go right for an individual student or for a group of students or even for a school or district, let's say, they have the opportunity to be able to move their test date to another day within that window and create that opportunity for students to be able to test. So it's actually a much more flexible and adaptive way to provide accommodations in some of those extenuating circumstances to ensure that every student has an opportunity to test.
I'm going to just go back to my example of a student who doesn't have ID or isn't able to access an ID. Would they not be able to take the ACT, and then would they miss out, would their family, they and their family miss out on the opportunity to like see their proficiency in any of these areas if we replaced it with ACT, MCA?
I think that from my experience, the school would do anything possible to get that ID and be able to have the student be able to take the test in that moment. But to answer that question, in the sense that if they weren't able to secure the appropriate identification needed to take the test, the student wouldn't be able to take the test that day, but would have a number of other testing days within that window to still be able to take the test. The other piece that I didn't reference is there are many high schools across the state, Eden Prairie being one, that offers that experience for seniors to be able to take the ACT if by chance they missed it as a junior. So that's just another important example of how schools and districts really work to ensure that students have those experiences, knowing full well that a variety of circumstances can inevitably come up.
Mr. McHenry, did you have something to add?
Madam Chair, just wanted to interject on that, just on the College Board process in terms of taking the SAT. An ID is required, but it can be a government-issued ID or a school-issued ID for verification. If a student does not have that ID, a student can get a notarized College Board student ID in order to take the exam. And Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I know we talked accommodations as well. The SAT does provide accommodations, just as you mentioned with the ACT, a variety of accommodations, including extended time, assistive technology, large print, and different audio and video. So we do make sure that we are aligned with what in offering the SAT for all students, even if they do have an IEP.
Thank you. Senator Bolden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate this conversation, certainly one worth having. I have two questions based on Mr. Shaver's testimony that I just would be interested in reaction from anyone. The first is around the MCAs being developed around our Minnesota standards, and ACT, SAT are not. And so what is anyone's response to sort of the value of our, the current MCAs being able to sort of accurately measure, what we have decided as a state our standards are, and not getting that same information with the ACT, SAT?
I can jump on that, Madam
Dr.
Chair.
Caesar? Yep.
Yeah, Senator Bolden. So as I articulated before very quickly, and I apologize for the long speech, I did mention that almost all math items in a study that we did in Bloomington, which was performed by ACS Ventures, which is an independent consulting agency, found that 100% of the math items aligned to the Minnesota academic standards. My apologies, 93%. 100% for the reading items. So there is a really high correlation between what is being measured on the MCAs, what is being measured on the ACT. Now, we don't know what that is like for the SAT because a study needs to be performed. But back in five years ago, we were trying to look to see if it was feasible for us to even put forth ACT as an option. Regarding the folks who take their time to create these tests, MCAs, yep, we have a large number of families, teachers that do some type of work, but that also occurs for the ACT and the SAT. When they're developing items, what they do is that they gather a panel of experts. So that includes current teachers, teachers who are retired, and then bring them into a room to do that kind of work. So there is not CEOs, it's not administrators that decide what's going to be on the test, but it's actually teachers. And because it's a national representative test, it's teachers from across the nation.
Thank you. Senator Bolden, follow up?
Thank you for that. And I guess I so appreciate that. A bit of a different topic. I'm wondering about the ability to have data and information around racial disparities. And we know, we have significant challenges here in Minnesota around that we absolutely should be addressing. Is based on some of the testimony, my understanding, it sounds like maybe there is information that we get from MCAs in that vein that we wouldn't get from SAT, ACT. Can you speak to that? Am I understanding that correctly?
Dr. Caesar.
Oh, Madam Chair, that's an excellent question, and thank you for bringing that up. Similarly to MCAs, we can take the ACT data and desegregate it by any sort of group. I think the challenge right now, and I think this is something that was highlighted today, was that we don't have enough information at the high school level with MCAs for us to make accurate interpretations of the scores. For example, Dr. Medley shared a story from a student that shared literally they're sitting around on the test and just clicking away. This was, I hope this is okay to share, but this was a group of students who were American Indian, Alaskan Native. And mind you that we often focus on how bad our students do when they're from certain populations. And American Indian, Alaskan Native has been one of them. Now, what they shared with me that day really shocked me, because here we are making strong interpretations about this MCA data, how well or how bad they're doing in their math and reading. Meanwhile, we're not really capturing what exactly they're doing. So in this phase of MCAs is we're supposed to measure what they're learning and what they can do at their given the instructional time that we give them, but it is not an accurate representation of what's happening.
Thank you. I did have a similar question, which was, if I get a 32 on the ACT, and then you can break that out, right? Like a 36 on the reading and a 17 on the math. I'm giving you my real scores in real time. I didn't bring a calculator. But how are we, because if I'm looking at a chart, it's showing me the rate of proficiency, which is to the MCA standards, and then the rate of meeting benchmarks. How closely are those aligned, and how are we extrapolating data on not just how well a student did on a test, but like, is that correlating with our proficiency standards?
Absolutely. So that's an excellent
Dr.
question,
Caesar,
Madam Chair. So there is a strong correlation between the ACT and the MCAs. We're looking at correlations between 0.8 to 0.9. In the world of correlations, that is a very strong correlation. We're talking about anywhere from 64% to 81% of the variance from one test being explained by the other. So with that evidence and the evidence that we saw in the alignment study, we know that there is a really strong correlation between the two.
Thank you, Dr. Caesar. I had one last question, and this one might only be for Senator Cwodzinski. Can you tell me about the repealer on the last page? I can read it, but I don't know if I know what it's doing.
I do not have that in front of me.
Do you have the bill in front of you?
The A1, oh, thank you, Madam Chair, the A1 amendment?
No, it's the repealer. It's page, well, it'd be the last page if you stapled the bill together.
I have to apologize, I do not know that.
And Ms. Lewis?
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members, I believe it's on the back part of everyone's bill, and it's a direction to the commissioner about regarding state-developed tests. So it would repeal that authority for the commissioner to seek advice from the experts on the state-developed tests.
Ms. Lewis, is this for all state-developed tests or just for the 11th and 12th grade tests?
Madam Chair, members, I believe there's language elsewhere regarding all the other tests, so this wouldn't be necessary, assuming the other portions of the bill are adopted. So I don't think it's withdrawing the authority for the lower grade tests by repealing this section. If that makes sense.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, no more member questions. Senator Cwodzinski, would you like to offer closing thoughts?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members, and thank you, testifiers, for your expertise and wisdom on this and your knowledge. In particular, thank you to the two students that testified. Love hearing from you as well. I think Senator Coleman and I are going to be calling this the unmandated bill. But when I hear words like from the student testifier that they don't feel like the test is relevant, and from Eden Prairie superintendent that said 70% of our students opt out, and the superintendent from Bloomington said that in his opinion, the test has minimum value, and all that and more. Maybe it's time for us to reevaluate what we're doing, and if we do keep the MCAs, let's add civics to the, yeah, thank you, to the reading, math, and science things that we test. And so anyways, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, fellow members, for your questions today, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. And then Senator Cwodzinski, can we lay over Senate File 2067?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, Senate File 2067 is laid over. All right, Senator Kunesh. Next up, we have Senate File 1899.
So, members, this is a really simple bill that could have meaningful and more accurate results in Minnesota's school district accountability reporting system. It would require that the Commissioner of Education amend the Minnesota North Star State Accountability Plan to include that the zero scores of students who exercise their legal right in opting out of the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessment, the MCAs, from the aggregate score of the districts. Senate File 1899 would discontinue the current practice of including the scores of students whose parents or guardians choose to opt out of the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessment standardized testing. Currently, students who do not participate in the test are identified in state records and in communication with families as not participating. Those who opt out receive a 0 on the North Star academic achievement calculation for the school accountability. This bill would change that practice to only include the scores of students who take this assessment in that calculation. I understand the statewide value of students taking MCAs. However, for some families, it is a thoughtful decision for a lot of different reasons. The legislature may need to make recommendations to increase the MCA participation and make other accommodations or options in order to meet ESSER requirements to ensure that the state continues to receive those Title I fundings. Bottom line, school scores should not be inaccurately reported to the public due to students who opt out of the MCAs. And Mr. Chair, with that, I have a couple of testifiers.
Go ahead.
I think I have Dr. Melby again, and Melby, and then Dr. Caesar. Thank you both.
Thank you, Senator. Testifiers, identify yourself for the record. Make sure you sign in on the sheet after your testimony, and thanks for coming in, and we're ready.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Dr. Eric Melby, Superintendent of Bloomington Public Schools, and I appreciate the opportunity to testify on behalf of the Minnesota School Boards Association on Senate File 1899. I'm going to hit on three really briefly areas why I'm testifying: staff morale, public perception, and unfair punishment. In regards to staff morale, low North Star accountability proficiency scores due to students opting out of MCA testing can negatively impact staff morale. Our dedicated teachers and staff work incredibly hard to ensure student success. When scores are driven down by students who do not participate, it creates an inaccurate perception of staff effectiveness and leads to discouragement. In terms of public perception of our school's academic performance is skewed when low MCA proficiency scores are presented publicly, especially without considering opt-out rates. Low scores don't necessarily reflect the performance of all students and paint an incomplete picture of our school's academic achievement. For example, a recent inquiry from a Bloomington resident regarding our proficiency rates highlighted the need for clearer communication about these factors. And then finally, unfair punishment. The current practice of counting opt-outs the same as not proficient for North Star calculations unfairly penalizes school districts. No Minnesota school district should be held accountable for results influenced by choices beyond their control, such as parental opt-outs. This approach disadvantages schools with high opt-out rates, which Bloomington has, and creates an unfair system of evaluation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, committee members. My name is Dr. Julio Caesar, and I am the Executive Director of Research, Evaluation, and Assessment at Bloomington Public Schools. I am here today to testify on behalf of the Minnesota School Boards Association regarding Senate File 1899. As you are aware, Minnesota's current school accountability system includes all students who have been enrolled for at least half an academic year in the North Star Academic Achievement Calculation for the purpose of school accountability, even those who opt out of testing. This design creates a challenge for schools with high opt-out and non-participation rates. Bloomington Public Schools, for instance, has experienced North Star reading and math achievement rates that are 3 to 4 percentage points lower than actual results in recent years due to non-participation. This discrepancy is particularly evident at the high school level. So, for example, among students who took the math MCA at one of our high schools in 2024, 57% achieved proficiency. This is more than 1.5 times higher than the state's high school math proficiency rate of 35%. However, the reported North Star academic achievement rate for this high school was only 32%, reflecting a significant difference of 25 percentage points. Further complicating this issue, opt-out rates have risen dramatically in recent years, as you know. For example, Bloomington high schools saw opt-out rates exceed 50% in 2021, and in recent years, over 20% of students have opted out. Our analysis of the MCA opt-out data controlling for GPA found that white students were more likely to opt out than students of color, both in reading and in math. We believe that school districts' academic achievement rates should not be negatively impacted by the non-participation of students in testing. When students do not participate, the reported academic achievement rates in the North Star School Accountability System misrepresent the true achievement levels of these schools. Therefore, while recognizing the potential fiscal considerations of accountability changes, we asked the Commissioner of Education to amend the state's accountability plan in a way that provides alternative options for meeting the ESSER requirement to address non-participation. Specifically, we recommend that these alternatives allow for the exclusion of non-participating students from achievement calculations. Thank you for your time and consideration. I look forward to any questions.
Members, questions? I have one, Dr. Melby.
Melby, yeah.
You alluded to teacher morale in your opening statement, and I didn't hear enough of how your testimony affects teacher morale, something we're all very concerned about on this committee. So if you could just talk a little bit more about that, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, and I don't know if Dr. Caesar has any hard data he can help me with, maybe not in this particular instance, but there's a number of folks up here that have served as teachers or worked in school districts, and when the North Star report is made public and you see that your school or your district or some combination of those is not doing as well as you know they're doing on a day-to-day basis, seeing kids and seeing their progress and seeing what's happening. My belief, and anecdotally through conversations with staff in Bloomington at least, is it does impact your morale and makes you feel less good about the work you're doing.
Thank you.
May I respond to that as well? So my experience at the schools that I've worked at, it's been really, it's made a big difference for the teachers. For example, at the beginning of the year in one of my schools, the teachers have to look at the scores from the year before and then set a goal for their class. Like, this is where they're going to get on the MCAs. And when we talk about teaching to the test, they're working it so that their students get to that. There were a number of years where the classes would come into the media center to take their tests on the computers, and these kids would have their little sticky notes with what the score is that they're supposed to reach. And the teachers are absolutely stressed out because they know that the kids are stressed out. Chances are that some of these kids are going to meet that goal, some of them aren't. And, the pressure is really incredible. You can see the worry, you can see the concern in their face, in their body. And then the kids take the test. And, it's not just stressful for the the teachers when a student doesn't meet their goal, but that student is crushed when they see, because at the end of the test, their score comes up, and they would have to record it on their piece of paper, and if it didn't match or didn't do better, it was defeating for the teacher, it was defeating for the student, and then, of course, those scores also represented, or people perceive those as this is the ability for that teacher to teach. So it was very much looked at as a reflection of their ability to teach their students. So the morale for the teachers is not good. And then when you get students that opt out and that 0 is calculated into that, that's not an accurate accountability of the scores, because those zeros, they're not null, they're 0, are calculated into that final number. And then if you look at the schools and their scores are down, it just does not reflect well. And of course, the teachers are going to feel really bad, and the pressure is going to be on them even more. So that's my response to your question.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Abler?
Well, thanks. Just in parlance, this simply makes sense. We were just talking about it, and I don't even know why we do this. I don't know. Probably if somebody thought it made a good idea, it was going to incent people to go drag people to take the test, but I like the bill, and if I could sign on, I'd like it. I don't know what's going to happen about who's allowing us to do this, but this is just a really bad practice that is totally pointless. So thanks for bringing this forward. Thank you.
We have one other testifier, a statement to be read. I believe the statement is Josh Downham, but
Mr. Chair, Josh Downham, Minneapolis Public Schools, and I'm actually reading a statement from MPS parent who unfortunately wasn't able to get here today. She really wanted to testify in front of you and actually thank Senator Kunesh for authoring the bill. So I'll read Ms. Bergman's testimony.
And can you give her full name?
Certainly. Mr. Chair, committee members, my name is Laura Bergman, and I'm the proud parent of a 3rd and 5th grader at Armitage Elementary School in Minneapolis. Thanks for the opportunity to testify in support of Senate File 1899, and thank you, Chair Kunesh, for authoring the bill. In addition to being a public school parent, I am also a lifelong childhood educator, and everything I do is on behalf of preserving and promoting the dignity of children. I value policies that seek to improve education for all children across the state, and believe that Senate File 1899 is one such policy because it seeks to make the data by which we are understanding our school's successes and challenges better and more accurate. As I was preparing to testify, I read Minnesota Statutes 120B.31. This is the law passed by the legislature establishing an option for parents to opt their children out of standardized testing. 120B.31 requires that the legislature requires Minnesota Department of Education to create the opt-out form. It requires districts to publish the opt-out form on their websites and requires districts to include it in their student handbooks. And then the state says every student who is opted out of those tests is still counted in the denominator of the proficiency rate and counts as a fail or a non-proficient. So think about that, members. That's bad math, which is ironic since these tests measure math proficiency. And ultimately, it leads to bad data. We are requiring schools to publicize the opt-out option, and rightly so. But it's a false choice because the law as written actually compels families to subject their children to standardized tests by penalizing their school if they do not. That's not good policy, it's not good data, and it's not good for kids. I believe in accountability, but I've talked with families across the district, and the concerns about testing are real. Giving them the option to opt out is the right thing to do. And Senate File 1899 is then the right thing to do for our schools. If a student does not take the test, they should not be included in their school's proficiency rate. It's common sense, it's good math, and will result in more accurate data. I'm not here to debate the validity of the standardized testing, but I am here to encourage you to improve the system we have in place. On that note, please continue to scrutinize if our policies will truly improve the student experience and outcomes in our schools. Public schools need support more than ever, and right now, they're doing so much for our kids with inadequate resources because of systemic underfunding of things like special ed and English learner services. I love the simplicity of this bill, it's common sense, and it is the right thing to do. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Senator Duckworth.
Is this working? Okay, there we go. Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, I admittedly came late in the middle of the bill being heard, so just have a couple of questions and then I'll make a couple comments if that's all right. So as it stands right now, a student or their parents can opt them out of taking a standardized test in the state of Minnesota without really giving a reason. They can just opt them out. Is that correct? Can anybody answer that for me?
Mr. Chair and Senator Duckworth, yes, they can choose to opt their students out for whatever reason that it is that they want.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chair, if I may. And I think folks would agree that one of the reasons why, or the thought process behind standardized tests, are to kind of gauge where our students across the state are in terms of various academic subjects, namely reading, math, science, things of that nature. And so by having students take these tests and gauge where they're at, we can then at our level or at the district level make changes or tweaks or modifications to curriculum, teaching, instruction, what have you, to hopefully, improve some of the scores or shortfalls we may see. And so I have the probably complete opposite, most unpopular opinion as it relates to this bill, which is I don't think folks should be able to opt out of taking the tests. I think we should be gauging where every student is. And I think if we allow folks to opt out, especially with no reason, we're missing critical data points that try to help us figure out how it is we're going to manage our schools and teach. Should students that don't take this test be counted negatively in the grand scheme of the standardized test scores? Sure, you could probably make an argument that that shouldn't be the case, but one way you fix it is you have them take the tests. You get every student to take them so we can gauge the progress or lack thereof of every student. I think that's probably the conversation that I would rather be having as it relates to this bill, because I think what's going to happen is the whole reason why the score is counted negatively, if you want to use that word in this case, is to hopefully incentivize people to not opt out and to participate in these tests so we can gather the information. If there's no issue at all, there's no ramification, there's no negative to a student opting out and not participating, I could see how that would, become a very easy thing to encourage kids to do. Well, just opt out, just don't take it. Why? Well, it doesn't count against the district anyway. And so this isn't, I'm not trying to be overly negative about your bill, Senator Kunesh. I'm really not. I'm just trying to underscore, especially coming out of COVID and seeing scores and reading issues pervasive amongst our kids in schools, I think the opposite approach is needed. I think we need to have every single kid participating in some sort of testing so that we can gauge where they are and provide them the help, the resources, the time and attention they need to get them back on track and to start moving Minnesota scores back in the right direction, what we're known for, what we've historically been able to achieve throughout our public education here in the state. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
May I respond?
Yes.
So I would say, from my experience, one of the biggest reasons that parents opt their students out is because of test fatigue. I have in front of me a schedule for a school district of all of the testing that these kids do. It starts in January and it goes all the way to the end of April. And these are our young kids. This is again a K6, K5 school. From my experience, this testing starts again and again and again all spring long. Half of their school year, it's all about testing. And MCAs aren't the only testing that school districts do. They do map testing. With map testing, you can dig down in the results and find like right to the very practice that this kid needs to do. Read out loud, they need more phonics, they need whatever it is, they need to know their numbers. I mean, there are other tests that will do that. This test, the MCAs are taken, they're starting now. So they're starting here in March, and they'll go until the end of April. For third, fourth, and fifth graders, it is reading and writing tests. For fifth graders, it's reading, writing, science tests. And then for EL students, they also have to take tests. And there's other tests all the way in there. So these tests are taken. The results are not given to the school districts until the end of the summer. So it's not even like real-time information where you can make any adjustments. And by this time of the year, kids are done. They are so checked out, not only from the testing, but from the stresses of school. And so when the teachers in the next fall receive these scores, that kid has had 3 months out of the school year gone. Maybe it's not an accurate, maybe they weren't feeling well, it's springtime, kids aren't interested in taking the test, and now you're supposed to use these scores to start that kid off. I think it would make more sense to have those tests in the beginning of the year, maybe not the MCAs, don't use the MCAs, maybe use these other assessments and use those as the years go by. So I think we need to find a balance in testing, and which is a test that we're all going to use across the state to accommodate this, so that we really do get this accurate. But I really don't believe that the MCAs provide an accurate assessment of where the kid is at the end of the school year. And for that reason, I think that's why a lot of the parents check their kids out or opt their kids out, because they're just over tested.
And Chair, if I may add.
Yes.
Yeah, so as someone who graduated in the measurement degree, I am 100% with you. We should be assessing all of our students. However, the reality is that our parents and even our students have found, especially after COVID, the start of the pandemic, that they can opt out of the tests. And it's something that is legally available to them. We have the 6 top reasons for students opting out. Stress and anxiety is number 1. Just an overall testing fear. Students just being absent, they just don't show up the day of testing. Parents and students feeling that it's unnecessary because it doesn't count for anything. Putting forth, prioritizing AP exams and other end-of-year tests, and students or families who are just not interested. So it is a battle between what we want and what is ideal and what the current situation is given us. As I mentioned before, Bloomington Public Schools, especially at the high school level, is facing a large number of students opting out of the tests.
Senator Duckworth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I have, paying taxes fatigue, but I don't think I get to opt out. And I don't mean to make light of it, and I don't mean to be callous, and I appreciate you sharing those reasons, but none of them really go that far with me. I think when kids are in school, part of the aspect of being in school is you get taught curriculum, you're tested periodically throughout the course of a school year on that curriculum, and given grades as a result, so we can gauge your progress, your understanding, and your retention of what you're being taught in the academic instruction. And so while I may agree that no testing and the metrics are ever perfect, all I'm stating is I don't want to see us make any big steps toward us doing a lot less of it and thereby missing out on valuable data, and also developing some sort of educational culture in our public schools that says we're just not going to test kids anymore. Because when I go to the counseling sessions, or what do you call it when you go visit with your kid's teacher? I just did them last week.
Conferences.
Conferences, thank you so much. When you go to school conferences, I've got a third grader and a first grader, and the first questions my wife and I ask are, what are their reading scores and what are their math scores? Why? Because if I don't have a gauge at all to show me where they are as it relates to those subject matters, then I don't know what it is we need to do to help them, or if they're at a stage where we need to challenge them even more. And so I think we have a lot more agreement than disagreement on this. And I think that if we're going to help kids, it involves them being assessed and not choosing not to be assessed. Because I can tell you right now, Mr. Chair, if I was a kid in school and a teacher asked me, do you want to take this test? Do you have an option? You can probably guess what my response would be as a kid in school, right? Versus that teacher and all of us as the adults and legislators and people that help govern the state saying, hey, kids, I know you have a lot going on in life and in school, but it's extremely important that we gauge where you're at. We need you to take these tests. They're not just for you. They're also for the students and kids coming after you as well. And that's what I think this is about more holistically, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
And I'll just respond really quick. This is not.
And your remark,
Yeah, my final remarks.
Okay.
So this is not about, eliminating testing in schools. Kids are assessed every single day. That teacher that's in there with them for all those hours knows pretty much where that kid can read and where they're struggling with math. There are other ways to assess that student. But this bill, just to bring it back to what this bill is all about, this is to ensure that schools' scores are not inaccurately reported by using that zero recording when a student does opt out, because it does not give an accurate window or accurate picture of the school's ability to teach our students. The teachers, it's not a reflection on the teacher, and so it's just to get a more accurate account of really where those scores come in. I'm done.
Thank you, and thank you to the testifiers. And I know I've already brought this up, but I'll never forget the kid I had that had gray in his hair, a big shard of it, and I thought it was genetic. I never thought anything of it, and I found out he broke the state record for a number of tests, AP tests in particular. And so I don't know if that was a contributing factor, but when I see that the number one cause of kids opting out was stress and anxiety or whatever words you used, there it is. So thank you. We will be laying this bill over for possible inclusion in the omnibus bill. I failed to report my bill to the appropriate committee, so I apologize, members, but Senate File 26-7, Senator Coleman's bill and mine, we need to send to Senator Kunesh's Ed Finance Committee. So all those in favor of sending it, the previous bill to Ed Finance, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Thank you for your indulgence of my mistake. And Wednesday, we're meeting again. We're hearing two bills, one extending or letting school districts start school year before Labor Day, and then a charter school transparency bill, are two bills. Anything else? Maybe? Maybe? Okay. So thank you, members. Thank you, audience, for being here today. Thank you again, members of the committee, and we are adjourned.